Okay, hello. So this will be a video for how to read and understand Katharevousa. If there is interest for it, if there is interest from people for it, I would continue reading Papadiamantis this way to get an idea of how one can understand it. Now, why would anyone want to read Katharevousa? There are mostly two reasons. One is that somebody wants to study Greek history at a professional level. So if you're a professional researcher and you want to study 19th century Greek history, the Demotiki alone will definitely not be enough. Historical archives, diplomatic correspondence, the law, um, textbooks in any subject, chemistry, history, whatever, will be in Katharevousa, or at the very best in a mixture of Katharevousa and Demotiki. And actually, this is not only true for the 19th century, it's true for a very good part of the 20th century as well. And I would even argue that to understand something like, let's say, the Constitution or the Greek laws as they're written today, a bit of Katharevousa would actually be quite helpful. Now, the other thing would be, outside somebody who's professionally interested in this, would be if somebody wants to access Greek literature, because a good part of Greek literature in the 19th century was written either in pure Katharevousa, which is quite rare, or what is more common, in a mixture of Katharevousa and Demotiki, as is the case, let's say, with Papadiamantis. We will look at the text by Papadiamantis today, Phonissa. And this is actually true not only for texts written in the 19th century, it's also true for texts written as late as the second half of the 20th century. For instance, somebody like Ebirikos, in his poems, you can encounter a lot of Katharevousa vocabulary and even some Katharevousa grammar in them. Okay, so this is the first part. Why Katharevousa? I think it really opens the door to reading so much more in modern Greek. Okay, I think it's really useful for the advanced student of modern Greek. Now, which kind of people can benefit mostly from what I'm about to say today? I think of two different distinct groups of people. One is the advanced student of Greek who has reached, I would say, at least B2 in modern Greek, preferably C1 in modern Greek. So let's say you are already at a situation where you can make sense of most books written in modern Greek. Not everything. You might still struggle with some books, with some genres, but for the most part, if you're given a text, you can make sense of it. And the second group of people would be people who came to modern Greek through ancient Greek. Okay, so if you first studied ancient Greek and you mastered it to a good level, and then you started learning the modern language, you can certainly benefit from what I'm about to say. Um, and now, another thing about grammar, okay, because I want to explain why I think studying the grammar will not help you a lot here. Because this is how we approach this text in school. I mean, not so much Papadiamantis, but mostly the ancient texts. So the grammar, first of all, will not be very useful to you because Katharevousa, for the most part, Katharevousa is modern Greek grammar with ancient vocabulary. So it's mostly the vocabulary that is ancient looking. The grammar, if you learn some quite easy twists, some easy tricks, you can very easily understand what's going on. So like in modern Greek, you don't have, let's say, a dative. Okay, you have the same case as in modern Greek. And the endings of the words, not always, but for the most part, are the same. Okay. Another reason I don't think grammar is very useful is because grammar is useful when you want to have a polished and elegant output in the language you're learning. Okay. And the case with here is you don't really care about the output, you really care about the input. You understand the input, you understand what you're reading. You don't want to write yourself in Katharevousa. If you wanted to write yourself in Katharevousa, then you would have, yes, to study the grammar a bit. But even in this case, I would suggest first to familiarize a lot more with the vocabulary, because you can write something with vocabulary but without grammar, but with grammar but no vocabulary, you won't be able to write anything at all. Okay, so we'll focus on vocabulary today. And now let me start reading the text and focus on things that interest me. Let's have a look at the text. Okay, of course, Katharevousa. I know there is a debate for ancient Greek. Should you read it this way or that way? For Katharevousa, there is no debate whatsoever. You just read it exactly the same way as modern Greek. Okay. So, μισοπλαγιασμένη κοντά εις την εστίαν, με σφαλιστά τα όματα, την κεφαλή ακουμβόσα εις το κράσπεδον της εστίας, το λεγόμενον φουγοπόδαρο. Let's stop here. Okay, so first, one thing, you have to familiarize yourself with the words that pop up again and again in Katharevousa and are different than modern Greek. One such word for sure is the word is. Okay, and be careful, this doesn't mean one. Notice here there's no thing here. Final N. Okay, I don't think this poses a very big difficulty to anybody, but add or change anything. It's just the author telling you, I know how to have the ancient looking ending. Okay, and in modern Greek, by the way, when we read this text, we will say istinestian because the N is written, uh, but really it doesn't change anything regarding the meaning. Okay, so one thing, look at the common words like prepositions and learn to ignore these little grammar twists like the N. Another thing I wanted to add, spirits, and when I say spirits, it's things like this one here. Yeah, this is a spirit, and the other spirit, we have it here over the word estia. Just ignore them. Okay, this is just a stylistic thing. You could write the exact same text without any spirit at all. It would have the exact same meaning. It would have the exact same way of pronunciation. Absolutely nothing changes. What is a bit different, however, is the old stresses. So in old-fashioned Greek in polytonic system, you would have three stresses. One, two, sorry, this is not good. One would be this one. The second would be the same thing, just with a different angle, like this one. And the third would be this one here, like you see, like let me show you in the text. It would be this, like in a kumvosa. All these things, all they do, all these three are telling you where to put the stress. They're the same thing as the stress accent in modern Greek, this thing here. So just think of them as a fanciful way to indicate the stress accent. Again, in ancient Greek, both spirits and these three stresses would lead to a different pronunciation, but for modern Greek, it's completely irrelevant. Okay, so just ignore it. Again, you could write the same text using only this one accent. It could be pronounced the same way. Yeah. Actually, you could write it without accents. It should be pronounced the same. It should still be pronounced the exact same way. Other things to say here. Okay, how do we guess words? Because I suppose here there are several words which, if you come from modern Greek, might be unknown. Again, for somebody who comes from ancient Greek, it might be different. Okay, so omata is a difficult word. Kraspedon is another difficult word. Fugopodaro, by the way, is a difficult word, but it's demotic. Okay, so I will not get into that. This word is difficult. Most Greeks will not know what it means, including myself. But this is modern Greek. It's in no way Katharevousa. So, and let me see, is there anything else? Okay, so let's say the two words that pose a problem to us would be these two, omata and kraspedon. Okay, one thing you can do to guess a word and see if you can find the modern word is to focus on the consonants, not the vowels, but the consonants. So we start with this word, omata. Okay, so let's focus on the consonants. The other thing you can do is if the word starts with a vowel, remove it and see what happens. Mata. Mata doesn't help a lot, but if I say matya, then it helps, yeah? Omata is a word for eyes, matya. So again, this might be a bit difficult, and you might even remove the initial O and still not be able to guess the word. But this is the best thing you can do. The best thing you can do is focus on the consonants. Say, if I put here a different vowel, mutu, like I have these two vowels. Which words can I have with these two consonants? Which words can I have with these two consonants? And you see, instead of mata, you have matya here, yeah? So you write it like this. Yeah, so that's one thing. And the other thing is, the one vowel that is most likely to change is the first one, unless it's this a at the beginning, which is equivalent to the English an. If it is this one, it is more likely to remain in the word because it has a meaning. Okay. So here, I think we could make some progress this way. If you can't make progress this way, then you should just Google the word. Okay. Don't use a dictionary of modern Greek, by the way. Dictionaries of modern Greek are dictionaries of demotic, not of Katharevousa. So let's see what happens if I just Google the word omata. Don't worry about stresses, okay? That's important. Don't worry about putting the stresses. The results should be the same on Google. Okay, so I Google omata. Let's see what comes back. Oma, yeah, Wikilexicon quite often is much better than the Dictionary of the Greek Academy when it comes to Katharevousa. So let's see here. The Wiktionary, the Greek Wiktionary, gives me two results. Notice the only difference is that this second result has the spirit. I suppose this is because this is ancient Greek and this would be Katharevousa. And without even opening the link, I can see here ophthalmos στο μάτι, το βλέμμα η ματιά. Okay, so yeah, eye. Okay. Now the second word, however, that I have to deal with here is a bit more difficult. Yeah? It's the word kraspedon. First of all, remove this N, it does nothing. If I go to the Dictionary of the Greek Academy, and I already did it, it gives me kraspedo. But now be very careful. What the dictionary does is it will give you the meaning of this word in demotic Greek. So it tells you that it can be used as the edge of the sidewalk or metaphorically meaning the edge. If on the other hand, I'm sorry, let me go here, kraspedo here. I go to the, here, yeah, you can see this is actually quite better. Wiktionary is quite better. And the first meaning it gives you, yeah, is the edge of a surface. And this is exactly what Papadiamantis is talking about here. The edge of a surface. The reason this dictionary is better than the other one, the Dictionary of the Academy, which is a very good dictionary, quite honestly, it's a very good dictionary. The reason this one is better, however, is because the Dictionary of the Wikipedia includes Katharevousa and ancient Greek. Okay, so now let's make some sense. Misoplayasmeni, okay, this is the motic. She was lying next to the fire. STA is a word for, the fireplace, with her eyes shut, and her head, okay, akumvosa. Now, if you have this combination MB, it's a fairly good guess that in modern Greek it would be MP. Akoubosa, again we said vowels might change, especially a very common change is omega would become U. So it will become Akoubusa. It is, well, it is a participle. So her head touching the edge of the fireplace. Now, ignore this part. This is how they call the edge of the fireplace in Demotic Greek. Now, her name, Aunt Hadula, or commonly called Yanou Ifragisa. Yeah, so this means she's a Catholic. Again, Demotic Greek. Now, then Ekimato. Okay. Then Kimundan. This is how we would say this in modern Greek. Then Kimundan. Now, this is something you have to learn. This ato would be the third person in the imperfective past. What is the change here? This T becomes empty. Okay. You have to train yourself to be good at guessing this stuff. Okay. Because otherwise, some people might look at this O here and say, oh, it must be first person. It's not first person, just because of the O sound. It's third person. Now, let's continue. Αλλά εθυσίαζε τον ύπνο πλησίων εις το λίκνον της ασθενούσης μικράς εγγονής της. Okay. Another thing to note here is it's very common to keep the augment in the past tenses. Actually not common, it's a rule of Katharevousa. You should keep the augment in the past tenses. So in Katharevousa he says αλεθυσίαζε. In standard modern Greek, although in some dialectic Greek it might be different, we will say αλαθυσίαζε τον ύπνο πλησίων. This is a sort of Katharevousa word for near. Εις το λίκνον. Okay, λίκνον. Λίκνον is the cradle, but it's not a word we will use in modern Greek. Again, here I suppose a dictionary of modern Greek would be of some help. Sorry, λίκνο, like this. It is used in modern Greek mostly in fixed expressions, like το λίκνο του πολιτισμού, the birthplace of civilization. But yeah, η κούνια. In modern Greek, we just use the word κούνια. I suppose it's from Italian. So, εις το λίκνον. Again, here, remember, is just σε. Is and το, στο λίκνο, στην κούνια, ασθενούσης. In modern Greek, we just say άρρωστης. Okay, now, somebody might think here, okay, and how am I going to know that ασθενούσης means άρρωστης? Well, sick, yeah. One thing you can do here is think of related words, okay? Words related, because here changing the vowels will not help, because the word asthenosis, if it appears in demotic, will appear the same way. So asthenis in modern Greek is a sort of elegant word to say sick, ill. Ο ασθενής, instead of saying ο άρρωστος. Like if you are in a hospital, it's more likely for people to say ασθενής. Bad luck here. You just have to know the word actually to make a guess here. But the next one actually can be of some help. Μικράς. Okay, now here we keep the same consonants and we see if by changing the vowels we get to something. And yes, if you turn this a into an ita, mikris, yeah, you have the modern Greek word, young, of your little granddaughter. Okay, I think we should have a look at the next phrase and then call it a day. My initial intention was to read the whole page, but I think this will take too long. Okay, let me read this. Όσον δια την λεχώ, την μητέρα του πάσχοντος βρέφους, αυτή προλίγου είχεν αποκοιμηθεί επί της χθάμαλης πενιχράς κλίνης της. Okay. Now, λεχώ, demotic, lechona, is the woman who gave birth. Okay. She's talking about the woman who gave birth. Dia, that's a very common word. In modern Greek, it would be ya. Okay, it's a preposition. Yeah? Όσο για την. would you say Lechona here? Also yet in, I don't know how we would say this in modern Greek, the mother who just gave birth. Uh, yeah, I don't know how to, I think I would just leave the same word. This word actually is not, it's a common word. Όσο για τη Λεχώ, τη μητέρα του άρρωστου. Okay, πάσχων, here, it means ill, sick, the sickly, yeah, the sickly, of the sickly baby, the mother of the sickly baby. Βρέφος now, okay, is the elegant way to say baby. Instead of μωρό, you would say βρέφος. That's the word that Katharevousa would prefer over μωρό. Not much to do here again, unless you know the vocabulary. Αυτή, not αυτή, but αυτή, προλίγου είχεν αποκοιμηθεί. Okay, προλίγου as a fixed expression is still in use in modern Greek. Again, this is a good example of how reading Katharevousa could help you with your modern Greek vocabulary. She had fell asleep. Okay, αποκοιμηθεί, that's the same in modern Greek. And now let's look at the difficult part. Επί της χαμαλής πενιχράς κλίνης της. Okay. Επί here is the same as the word πάνω in modern Greek. So again, this is a very useful word to learn what it means in Katharevousa is the word πάνω, on, over. But notice here what's happening. Papadiamantis after επί uses a genitive. Okay, prepositions with genitive in modern Greek, this only happens with elegant language, educated, let's say, language, and usually it's fixed expression, like προ Χριστού. Pro, whenever we use this old-fashioned expression, it has to go with the genitive. And actually, that's something that modern Greeks often make mistakes with. So here, you usually have two ways to say this. If you want to say this in modern Greek, your best guess is either use the modern word either with the accusative or the accusative plus se. So, πάνω την or πάνω στην. In this case, it is την. Okay, πάνω στην, πάνω σε την. But in other cases like προ, when you say προ Χριστού, the modern Greek way to say it will be πριν τον Χριστό, without σε. But really, as far as understanding the meaning here, all you have to really know is that επί means on or over. Okay, now, χαχθαμαλής. Okay, again here, you can look for similarity, but this word is tricky. This word is really tricky. How do you deal with this word? I'll give you a hint and see if you can guess the word if I give you this hint. If I turn this a to an eta, χθαμιλής, does it remind you of some word? If you play a bit with the vowels. If you said it's χαμηλή, the word for low, yeah, that's it. If on the other hand you couldn't guess it, don't worry too much. Let's see what dictionary gives us here. So χθαμηλή, I wrote χθαμηλή, that's my mistake. I should have written χθαμαλή. Okay, so let's look at this χθαμαλή. Yeah? Oh no, I should go here actually, sorry. Yeah, here, whatever, χθαμαλός. Okay, this is where the word, this word is related, let's say, to the word χαμηλός. Okay, and actually, dictionary, that's lovely. It gives you both the ancient word, χθαμαλός, and the word in Katharevousa. Okay. I've never heard in my life, I don't think I've ever heard in my life somebody saying this, and if I did, I didn't understand what he was talking about, okay? So don't feel bad if you couldn't guess the word here from context and through changing the vowels. It's just a difficult thing to do. So this means low. Klini is the word for bed. We use it in modern Greek as well, but we use the word klini for the beds in the hospital. Okay, or it could be also in the army, but definitely not the bed you have at home. Okay, it's a formal word in modern Greek, whereas Papadiamantis uses it just to mean, for Papadiamantis, this word that simply means bed. Okay, penichros. Well, let's see what actually that's interesting. Let's see what the dictionary, the modern Greek dictionary, gives me for penichros. If I put penichros here, what it will give me. If I put penichros, it means very small in modern Greek, like penichro επιχείρημα, a very poor, a very small, an insufficient argument. We used to very common to say penichra mesa, which means very poor. However, it can also mean poor, and that's exactly what how Papadiamantis means this. Penichrodissimo. Somebody who doesn't have money to buy good clothes and has poor clothes. Yeah. So the word survives with this meaning as Papadiamantis uses it in his text. It's just so much more uncommon in modern Greek. Okay, so let's go through it again. So I start again from here. So regarding the mother of the ill baby, she had fallen asleep just before a while on her low, poor bed. Okay, if people have comments on this, I'll be very interested to listen to them. And if you know, if for instance, uh, you had, I would be very interested to listen to difficulties you have when you read this text, because the thing is this: I teach modern Greek, not Katharevousa, so I don't really know what are the difficulties for people who want to study this text. I don't really know. I would be very interested to listen how people who learned modern Greek as a second language deal with this text. And that's it.